I'd like to call this meeting of the Elgin City Council together tonight for October 25th, 2022. We'll have the roll call to order, starting with Councilmember Swain.
Swain here.
Callahan here.
Rodriguez here.
Dennis here.
Frazier here.
Kosnowski here.
Gibson here.
And I'd like to acknowledge that we do have a quorum. Mayor McShann is out due to illness, and Councilmember Maldonado is out due to a funeral. Do I have a motion from the floor to excuse those two members?
And I'll second.
We've got Callahan making the motion and Gibson seconding it.
Callahan, yes.
Rodriguez, yes.
Dennis, yes.
Frazier, yes?
Kosnowski, yes.
Gibson, yes.
Swain, yes.
Please, Al, sorry. Councilman Rodriguez, would you lead us in the prayer?
Al is always fine. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to be here today. We ask for your guidance as we do our best to serve the collective good of our citizens, of our city, and eventually that influence upon our surrounding area and state. Hopefully, together we can make decisions that serve the best interests of our kids, our adults, and all those that live in the Elgin city proper and the communities around us. It's a calling to serve. All of us, we're called here today for one reason or another, and we appreciate your faith in us, and we hope that we can serve with your guidance and your faith and your wisdom. Amen.
Amen. If you'll please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now the Texas flag. Sorry. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one
and indivisible.
Okay, we'll move to item number 5 on the agenda. It's a public hearing. Public hearing on an ordinance amending the official zoning map of the city of Elgin, Texas, adopted in chapter 46, section 46.3, revised code of ordinances, city of Elgin, Texas, 2013, and making this amendment a part of said official zoning map, to wit, to rezone as PDD, Planned Development District, the property containing 49.93 acres, situated in the William Hines Survey, abstract number 53, located in Travis County, Texas. Subject tract being described in deed to Diane Tenney Smith, as recorded under document number 2020-197-159, official public records of Travis County, Texas, being more particularly described in Exhibit A, and providing for a savings clause and repealing conflicting ordinances and resolutions.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. This actually is an item that we'd scheduled a public hearing for based on the request of a developer that anticipated this PDD development being ready for council's consideration tonight. But after we advertised the public hearing, that submittal did not happen. So this is another one where, since we advertised the public hearing, we're having it tonight in case anybody is here to speak on this. But there'll be no action on this item, and the matter that's the subject matter of this hearing will presumably come back to council at a future date.
And I believe we have one public comment on the public hearing. Diane Dunnigan, if you'll come to the dais.
Members of City Council, hello.
Hi.
I'm representing Diane Tenney Smith. She'd love to be here, but she's elderly and she had life-saving surgery today. And I'm here as a representative, and I do have power for her. She was very upset when she got a package in the mail Friday morning, and when she was making arrangements to go to the hospital. And it came with the 49.7 acres behind her, and also in red were her 2.07 acres that attach to her 11 acres that make up her farm in unincorporated Travis County. I called David Harrell yesterday, and he said, oh, that was an error. And the reason I'm here is I accept his response, but I'd like this on public record, that someone did error and omit, and it caused her quite some stress Friday, I can tell you that, that her 2.07 acres, Travis CAD number 248229, it is her property. It has nothing to do with the 49 acres that she sold behind. She does not want any rezoning. I'm here to get an answer so I can validate David's response yesterday and have it on public record. Is this an error that her 2.07 acres would be to the northeast of the 49 acres was put on in this red section in error because it is not to be there? Can anyone answer?
Well, as I said, we can just clarify for the record, there's nothing being considered or submitted tonight.
Okay.
Then we can make the correction you submitted.
Okay, so I can come back and contact the office, the planning and zoning office, and check on the status of the correction. Would that be correct?
Yes, ma'am, and then it'll come back to us, and we'll have to make a vote, and then it will be corrected when we make that vote. So then it will be valid, and you will have a documented record of it as the vote.
Okay. Is it possible for me to get included in any paperwork that is sent to her at this point? A lot of the mail is getting misdirected for her. I do have power of attorney, which I can present to.
I'm sorry, man. This isn't the forum to do a lot of Q&A.
Okay.
You've put us on notice. Again, I would say there's nothing being contemplated with that site at this time.
Okay.
The larger site you're talking about is the one that has been sold and is under consideration for development. That'll come back at a future date. We'll make this correction on.
And one last question. At a future date, can I ask what size lots are being approved?
Sure, all
The minimum? Yeah.
that'll be part of the PDD.
Okay. That sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Do we have anybody else that wants to speak on this particular public hearing? I'll take us out of the public hearing at 6:38 and back into regular session. Item number 6 is public comment. We have one public comment, and I just want everybody to know that does a public comment, you have 3 minutes. You will hear a little thing from the city secretary when your 3 minutes is over. But sometimes what people don't understand is whenever anybody comes to talk to the council, that's your 3 minutes to speak. But by law, anybody up here cannot talk back to you. I don't want anybody to think that we're being rude, because we're not, and we're listening. But by law, we cannot talk back to you, okay? So we have Jeff Asmussen.
Thank you. Elginites are limited to Highway 290 and 95 as our only methods of daily travel, and we're being subjected to unnecessary and varying causes of unnecessary slow and frustrating driving conditions. Timing of the traffic lights being controlled and adjusted by TxDOT relies on citizens to complain to TxDOT to ask for improvements. TxDOT told me traffic flows through Elgin are their main priority. That's at odds with our needs for safe left turns, wait times to turn left, and turning into businesses on 290. I complained that in a line of 30-plus vehicles in front of CVS Pharmacy and the QT gas station, the lights were only allowing 4 or 5 vehicles to exit from those neighborhoods. TxDOT did respond and increase that light's duration, but the question is, why was it so short to begin with? We need to rely on public input, yes, but to better these road conditions, we could use the assistance from our city leaders and council to also weigh in with TxDOT. Many of us have to wait nearly a full minute in traffic in front of HEB for the traffic to clear, allowing us just to turn into the parking lot. It's impossible to turn left from the new Poco Loco many times of the day because of the speed of the traffic and the jam up in the center turn lane to get into the filling station across the street. More new neighborhoods, County Line Road detoured traffic lights, changing flows are already resulting in huge backups, some frequently all the way from Highway 290 and 95 south all the way to 290 and 95 north. Traffic congestion would benefit from no trucks left lane all the way from Manor all the way to Elgin, Highway 290 and South 95 intersections. Construction trucks and semis, delivery trucks and box trucks are slowing and clogging the roads, especially when 2 of them occupy both lanes at traffic lights, 7 traffic lights between us and Manor. Highway 95 flows from the 290 intersection are also fraught with frustrating situations north and southbound with no passing lanes, lots of traffic lights and trucks. Request of council, please engage TxDOT seeking more input from our city leaders to better travel to and from Bastrop, passing lanes on 95 just like from Taylor to Elgin. No trucks left lane. Whatever strategy was utilized, Elgin needs to succeed at getting needed changes to improve our safety and conveniences now, not 10 years from now based on TxDOT's recently concluded 10-year planning session. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Asmussen. Is there anybody else, Madam Secretary? All right, we're going to move to item number 7. We have a proclamation declaring November 1st, 2022 as Dia de los Muertos Day in the city of Elgin. A proclamation declaring November 1st, 2022 as Dia de los Muertos Day in the city of Elgin. Whereas November 1st and 2nd marks a traditional celebration in Mexico and Latin America, celebrating life and death where mourning is exchanged for celebration. And whereas the city of Elgin is excited to celebrate this holiday as a community, and whereas we invite citizens from all cultures to join us downtown on Tuesday, November 1st, 2022, from 5 to 8 p.m. to celebrate Dia de los Muertos with strolling mariachis, ballet folklorico, fire dancers, music performances, stilt walkers, traditional Dia de los Muertos altars, and educational information. And whereas citizens are invited to participate in the costumed walking parade beginning at the library at 6:15 p.m. and continuing down Main Street to Veterans Memorial Park. And whereas citizens are invited to bring personal notes, flowers, and photos to share with the community altar at the Meadery, located at 109 Central Avenue. And whereas citizens are invited to bring their families and friends to the Elgin Public Library for sugar skull painting and children's activities, and to Veterans Memorial Park for family-friendly activities, vendors, and entertainment. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Pro Tem Sue Brazier of the City of Elgin, do hereby proclaim November 1st, 2022 as Dia de los Muertos Day in the City of Elgin and invite the community to celebrate this holiday. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused to be affixed the Great Seal of the City of Elgin on this 25th day of October, 2022. There are tons of stuff to do.
So this is our volunteer committee for Dia de los Muertos. It's not 100%. There's actually a bunch more folks helping put on this amazing event that weren't able to come tonight. They're led by Megan Stewart. Megan, wave. And great partnership for the Community Services Division, the library, the Parks Program, and Main Street are all working with the volunteers and the Clever Tiger and the Meadery to have this really incredible event that's going to just run you from the north to the south end of downtown. So November 1st, this is where you want to be, celebrating loved ones who have passed and learning a lot more about this wonderful event. So we'll do a good picture with our Mayor Pro Tem.
There are already altars going up in the city. El Miguel was working on theirs this morning. Okay. All right. Item number 2. We have an addendum add item to the regular meeting. Tom?
This is a proclamation that was requested of Mayor McShann at, kind of at the last minute, so we squeezed in the agenda to request.
A proclamation declaring October 30th, 2022 as Freedom Sunday, Souls to the Polls Day. Whereas African American churches, civic organizations, and citizens have played a crucial role in expanding civil rights, suffrage, and racial equality in communities and jurisdictions across the United States throughout our nation's history. And whereas for the first time ever on October 30th, 2022, under the leadership of the Austin, Texas chapter of the Links Incorporated Communities of Faith and organizations across Austin, Travis County, and Central Texas will engage in Freedom Sunday, Souls to the Polls, a statewide, nonpartisan, non-denominational voter turnout initiative aimed at maximizing African American voter participation in the upcoming November elections. And whereas the coordinated effort will feature local pastors, community leaders, elected officials, activists, and ordinary citizens engaging in voter registration drives, candidate forums, voter education symposiums, prayer, fellowship, and support. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Pro Tem Sue Brazier of the City of Elgin, do hereby proclaim October 30th, 2022 as Freedom Sunday, Souls to the Polls Day.
Good, I don't think there's anybody here to receive that.
Yeah, Teresa,
Okay.
we'll get a picture with her later.
Okay.
Moving on. Item number 8 on the agenda, the city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. We have our friend Sarah here to give us another exciting update
Hi.
on the sesquicentennial.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Thank you, Tom. Excited to be here again. We have a lot of updates to give you guys. First of all, I want to give a big round of applause to the entire community for putting on a wonderful event this weekend with the annual Hog Eye Festival. It takes a huge team to put that together. And so Amy and Christina have a lot of great volunteers, and all accounts are, it was a huge success. So congratulations. Moving right along, I just want to encourage everyone to go and visit the ETX 150 online store, where you can purchase your very own copy of our Milestones Elgin, Texas history book. And you will see that we have left one for each of you guys to keep with you as kind of the gift from the Sesquicentennial Committee. So please read those. We're also doing bulk discounts. If you don't want to purchase them individually, they make great Christmas gifts and corporate rewards. And so just contact me directly and I'll be happy to set that up for you guys. And the online store, that will only be live until the end of this year. And so folks like mentions Amy Miller, who have yet to get online and order their items, need to make sure to do so before that online store closes. And I know the holidays are fast approaching. I think it's 8 weeks till Christmas. And so please log on there, get your items. A portion of those proceeds goes to Down Home Ranch and to the Veterans Park expansion. So
You could say Sue Brazier has not been there yet either.
Sue Brazier has not been there yet either. So raise your hand, council members, if you have yet to purchase your items. Okay, you've got a little more than 8 weeks left to do so. So just a brief update. I know that Studio 1619 has been working really hard on the new design renderings for Veterans Memorial Park. And Downtown Elgin Inc., who is doing a lot of the fundraising for that project, has set up a new Facebook page. So I wanted to encourage everyone to go and like them on Facebook. And stay tuned as we continue to raise money for that project. It's going to be beautiful. I'm excited. I know we just had the DIA proclamation, but just want to remind everyone to join us downtown next Tuesday. And we've got the altar making workshop happening and craft t-shirt making this Saturday. So lots of fun stuff happening before the event to help get ready. And so if you want to make your own Dia de los Muertos shirt, you can do that at the Clever Tiger. And the proclamation did not mention the stilt walkers.
Yes, it did.
Oh, it did? Did it say fire dancers too? And I missed it? Okay, well, never mind. Sorry.
It did not say the chamber because they're also having a very large version too.
Yes, yeah. So there's going to be a lot of stuff, great Facebook information, and all online at ETX 150. So hope to see y'all downtown on Tuesday night. And before you head downtown, I'm encouraging everyone to call in sick to work for a few hours and join us for our Mexican and Latin cemetery tours. Those are going to start at 3 p.m. at the Fleming Community Center, free admission. Debbie Warman and the folks at the Bastrop County Historical Commission have really been working hard with Juan Gonzalez and several of the other cemetery tour leads. The Westbrook Cemetery tour was very special. This is kind of one of those once-in-a-lifetime events, and so I encourage you to take off work early and come join us at the Fleming Community Center on November 1st, and then head downtown to DIA. Also, we've got our tree initiative going on, and Elizabeth updated us yesterday. We have 29 trees committed. We're trying to get to 150. And so we've got a little bit more work to do. And so we're wanting to plant 150 trees in honor of the Sesquicentennial. You can plant them at your house, at your office. I know the EDC is working with some of their businesses that are going into the industrial park to plant trees. And then we're going to actually celebrate Texas Arbor Day on Saturday morning, November 5th, at the Recreation Center. So come down and join us. If you're interested in planting trees, you can go to Bloomers and get a 10% discount. All you have to do is mention the tree initiative. Yes, ma'am.
How do we let you know that any citizen has planted a tree so we know we got to 150?
Thank you for pointing that out. Yes, I'm sure there's been trees planted we don't know about. So if you have planted trees this year and you want to let us know, or you're planning to do so, you can go online to the city's website. Under the Parks and Recreation page, we have a tree initiative page. There is a pledge there. Simple, just sign it. We don't need any personal information, but just fill out the pledge and let us know. And there's a great display at the Recreation Center where they're actually keeping track of all the trees that are being planted. So I encourage you to go check that out as well. Thank you, Mayor. And right after that will be our Veterans Appreciation Day. We've got a lot of great activities planned, kicking off with the Veterans Parade downtown, thanks to the folks at the VFW who are coordinating that, followed by the annual Elgin Empty Bowl Project. And what we are doing this year is a little bit different, a little bit special, is you can actually buy a veteran a lunch. Go online to our website. We've got the link right there, also posted in our Facebook event. And really to thank and honor all of those who have served our country. And so it's a very important and special day, and we encourage you guys, if you're like Sarah O'Brien, Amy Miller has done it. I'm yet to go online and buy my veteran lunch, but I will do so this week. And so I encourage everyone to follow suit and get that done, because the service to our country is very important and they need to be thanked. So they got a lot of great parade lineup. I think the band's going to be there, and want you to come down and watch the parade that morning and pay tribute as well, even if you can't be in the parade. And our next big event after that will be Saturday, December 3rd, which is our Time to Shine event. It's a holiday celebration, and we're also dedicating our time capsule that day in conjunction with the Hot Cocoa Stroll and the Volunteer Fire Department's annual Lighted Christmas Parade, which is back in downtown Elgin this year. But we're going to kick off right here on these grounds at 11 a.m. We've got food trucks, live entertainment, children's activities with the library, in the Parks Department. We're also Rotary Club and working with different groups and organizations that will be providing free children's activities. So think Christmas cookies, letters to Santa. I hear the red man himself will be here that day to take pictures with the kids. Immediately after the parade, we will watch the Polar Express in the City Hall parking lot. And then at 1:50 p.m., and you can see on the slide the image on the left-hand side of the screen, that is the medallion for our time capsules, because we're going to actually be dedicating the contents of that day. It's a very special day at 1:50 p.m. Right here in front of the library. So please join us for that as well.
So the parade is in the morning?
The parade, no, it starts at 6 p.m.
Okay. Is there a schedule for all of these events?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And
So
I think,
I thought you said the time capsule was after the parade.
well, no, I screwed that up. So we are watching the Polar Express after the parade.
Okay.
We're doing the time capsule at 1:50, and I think there is a brochure in your book that should have some of those specifics on it, and then we've got it all on the Facebook event as well.
And it's all gonna be online on the website too?
Yes,
The
ma'am.
timeframe?
Yes, yep.
But no
We're still
tip-off.
fine tuning the schedule, and so we'll get those details, but yeah. And then finally, we will kick off the end of the year with fireworks, and my technology failed me again. Those were supposed to be moving fireworks on the screen, but that's okay. With our Glowing into 2023 event at the VFW again. The VFW's been such great partners of ours this year. On December 31st from 7, we'll do a champagne toast at midnight, but the fireworks will actually be at 10:30 p.m. So family friendly, Glowing into 2023. DJ, some Black Eyed Peas, and some children's activities, and really a way just to celebrate all of the great events and activities and promotions that we've done this year, and really hit 2023 off with a bang. So I hope you guys will join us. And that is my update for the remainder of the year. Yes,
I
Councilmember
have
Dennis?
one question to go back to the Arbor Day thing.
Yep.
If someone isn't compelled to plant a tree in their yard, could they purchase a tree for the city and let them plant it where they want?
Yes, thank y'all for keeping me on track today. You can actually sponsor a tree, and so all that information is online under the Tree Initiative, and I think they're $150, go figure. And so if you would just like to donate, if you do not have space at your business or at your house for any more trees, but you believe and understand the importance of trees and tree preservation, just go online, and Elizabeth will be happy to take your money and get a tree planted in your honor or in someone else's honor as well. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. We hope to see you guys all soon.
You're doing
Are
great,
you
Sarah.
sure?
You're doing
Thank
a
you.
great job.
Thank y'all
Yes,
very much.
thanks,
Y'all have a
Sarah.
great evening.
Okay, this next item is just a general report. I had a couple items, just wanted to update council on. Just wanted to say, again, as Mayor Pro Tem just said, Sarah's done a great job for us this year, and we're gonna have to find more for her to do after the years. And we had a great hog eye on Saturday, and again, just want to congratulate Amy and the festival committee. We trying to guess if that was the biggest one yet, attendance-wise, but I guess they're going to keep getting bigger every year. So had a great day at our information booth. Talked with a lot of citizens. We're interested to know about growth and things like that, and we didn't get any negative comments or didn't have to call the police over or anything like that, and we had a good day that way as well.
I have one thing else to say. We had our first ever Hog of Fame inductee, Amy Miller.
Is that right?
Right, yes.
That Hog of Fame, that's an honor I'm sure people strive for.
We worked hard to come up with that title.
Congratulations, that's great. A couple things I wanted to mention too. We've gotten, actually, Mayor Pro Tem asked me about this today, and I've gotten a number of questions about what's work is being done at 290 and 95 there in front of Frontier Bank, and I guess it's encouraging, shows people paying attention to that. But that is a beautification project being done by TxDOT. TxDOT got a grant, I guess, a couple of years ago. The staff has been talking with them about it, but it's a project where they're doing some plantings, and they have a big area there that they're going to improve from a beautification standpoint. And then kind of the partnership with the city is that they'll build it, they pay for everything, they'll get it up and growing, and then eventually we'll take over the maintenance of it. But so it's not. Somebody asked me if Home Depot was building there, and we're trying to get Home Depot, but not in that location. And I just wanted to mention again, for the good of the order, that it's unfortunate the gentleman left, but the issue about traffic lights, just to say again, we try to help folks understand that we decided we have 7 lights in town, Michael. And every traffic light in the city of Elgin is owned and operated and under the complete jurisdiction of the TxDOT. The city doesn't have any control over those lights, how they're timed. And to this issue about traffic on 290, we anticipate getting 2 more lights on 290 in the near future. One at where Whataburger is at that intersection, and then one that will be at Swenson Boulevard where when the Trinity Ranch development starts building. So the harsh reality is we're going to continue to have more lights being constructed. In my experience, there's nothing the city can do. Certainly legally, there's nothing we can do to influence that process. And what the gentleman said is correct. It's been a usual conflict I've had over the years, because the DOT, their only objective is to move traffic, and they don't show a lot of sensitivity to having good access points of people getting off, getting to businesses, and so those points were correct that he was making. But we have a good dialogue with TxDOT, and we'll continue to do that. But it's just one of these things. I think it's important for folks to understand. It's legally totally in their discretion. We have had conversations with the toll road folks and TxDOT about longer-term plans, and the toll road folks have talked about bringing the toll road all the way to Elgin. But frankly, he was also correct. I don't anticipate any of those projects happening in a short period of time. So it's just another byproduct growth we're just going to have to deal with. That I just don't want to mislead people into thinking that we've got it within the council's discretion to frankly do a whole lot about that. So anyway, unless anybody had any questions for me, that's all I had on my report.
Can we count the trees that TxDOT is gonna plant?
There we go.
That's a good idea.
That would be good. Good idea.
I bet we'll hit way more.
With no other discussion on that, we will move on to.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to put this slide, just wanted to mention, tomorrow night, we're having our first ward meeting in Ward 1 with council members Kaznowski and Gibson. We want folks to turn out for that. The mayor and I'll be there. Just for the good of the order, we plan on this meeting and others, we plan on not, everyone's welcome, but we're not posting an agenda, so we won't have to necessarily follow rules and all that. So everybody's welcome, but it's probably best we don't have a quorum of council there, if you know what I mean. So if you do plan on coming, just let the mayor or I know, and so we can make sure we don't exceed the number. But we'd certainly encourage anybody in Ward 1 to come out and meet with us at Mount Moriah Baptist Church tomorrow at 6:30. And then I remembered I had this one, don't forget our schedule coming up. Our next council meeting is until November 15th, and given the holiday schedule and how we moved this meeting back, right now, we're planning on just having the one council meeting in both November and December. Obviously, we can call another one if we need to, but at this time, it would just be the 15th and the 6th. So I know that's all. Thank you.
Any other questions, concerns? Okay, we'll move on to item 9, the consent agenda. Number 1 is the city council regular meeting minutes for October 11th. Number 2 is a resolution of the city of Elgin authorizing the city council to approve the Bastrop County Hazard Mitigation Action Plan. Number 3, consider waiving the open container ordinance on Main Street from Lexington Road to Brenham Street, and on 2nd Street, 1st Street, Depot Street, Central Avenue, Austin Street, Brenham Street, from Main Street to Avenue C, and on Avenue C from Brenham Street to 2nd Street on Tuesday, Saturday, December 3rd, for Time to Shine. Item number 4, a resolution of the city of Elgin, Texas approving the 2022 total ad valorem tax levy. Item number 5, a resolution of the city council of the city of Elgin, Texas approving the terms and conditions of a letter of engagement between the city of Elgin and Brooks, Watson and Company, CPA, for fiscal years 22 through 26, which is attached to your packet. Does any council member want any of these items pulled for further discussion?
Mayor Pro Tem, I just would like to point out, is that a typo where it says Tuesday, Saturday, December 3rd on number 3?
Yeah, sorry.
It was probably a typo.
Yes.
I will circle.
I guess
Jennifer is on it.
that's Saturday.
With that correction, Mayor, I'd make a motion that we accept the consent agenda items in total.
Okay, we have a motion to accept the consent agenda by Councilmember Dennis and a second by Councilmember Swain. Any other discussion? Councilmember Dennis?
Dennis, yes?
Frazier, yes?
Kaznowski, yes?
Gibson, yes.
Swain, yes.
Callahan, yes.
Rodriguez, yes.
The motion passes unanimously. Moving on to new business. Item number 1, review and discussion of a staff proposal to consider the inclusion of green building and/or LEED certification principles in the construction of the new City of Elgin Police Station.
Thank you, Madam Mayor Pro Tem. This is an item that, as we know, we continue to progress on the final development of plans and construction documents that'll allow us to proceed with the construction of our new police station. We anticipate that final approval being ready for council to consider at our December meeting. But what I want to talk about tonight is give you a little update of where we're at on the cost, and then pass along or have some more discussion about this LEED certification concept that we've kind of brought into discussion here at the last minute. Last spring, when the council authorized moving forward the project, these were our basic numbers that we showed at that time, about $3.9 million for construction cost and 4.7 million for total cost for the entire project. The staff has worked with our, at that time, as you may recall, we selected a construction manager at risk and moved forward with the plan, the final plan development. And so the staff has worked with both the CMAR and our architect and engineer, and has done continue to make tweaks on the project, and actually went through some valued engineering to basically talk about what possible cost savings we could achieve. And our consultants, the CMAR team, actually came up with a list of items as potential cuts or changes in the project that could have gotten us down to the original construction number, but as we went through those items with the staff, many of those we felt would have compromised the project. And so we couldn't accept their recommendation for cost cutting. And then we continue, like everybody else these days, to make sure we're caught up with supply chain issues and current costs. So this is another slide, it's kind of an updated slide I showed before, where with the revised number, what we think the construction costs will be, it's just over $4 million. That puts the, with contingency, it is 4.2, and then right at $5 million for full construction of the project that council has seen and that we've worked on basically from the beginning. So our funding update on and recommendation from staff is that we need to basically dip in a little more into our ARPA funds that we've received and have yet to expend. If you remember, we had earmarked $3.5 million from the COs we issued last year for this project. Initially another $1.2 million from the ARPA funds that we received, and now we need to increase that by about $300,000 to make the $5 million number we're looking at for the entire project. Now, you may have remembered the ARPA funds came in response to the coronavirus recovery. These were the main objectives that came with the program and the funds we received. As we've talked about before, there was some confusion in the beginning about what eligible uses, what these funds could be used for. They were pretty tightly restricted about what their uses were for, and certainly a number of other entities had run into problems with expending those funds, only to find out later they used it for an ineligible cost and they had to pay it back. So we've been fortunately, the city didn't have a big cost impact where we needed to invest these funds right away. So we've been able to be patient to allow the dust to kind of clear on what the rules are, and we are confident that use for certainly for public safety and for a building like this is an eligible use, which is why we had made this recommendation before. So the status of our ARPA funds at the present time is the city actually received a total of just over $2.5 million in those funds. None of those dollars have been spent or committed to this point, other than the preliminary commitment the council approved with the investing about 1.2 for the station project. Now that revised number with this updated cost estimate is right at 1.5 million. So if we use 1.5 from the ARPA funds, that means we'll still have just over $1 million left of those ARPA funds that have yet to be committed to any other project. So it's still a substantial balance there that within these restrictions we've talked about, council has yet to make a determination on how to spend. So we feel like we're in pretty good shape with the project that we've discussed to date. We're really excited about moving forward, but those are the basic numbers. $5 million for the project, $3.5 million from the COs, and we need $1.5 million out of this $2.5 million of ARPA funds. That, just for the record, the ARPA funds obviously came from the federal government. That represents no additional cost to Elgin residents or taxpayers. Now, the other item that has come up in this most recent discussion that we want to review with council tonight is consideration of whether or not we want to enhance this project in a way that it would be considered a green building, and particularly that it would be a LEED certified building. I think y'all may be generally familiar with this process, but LEED is literally a universally recognized system for measuring the environmental benefits that building owners and builders put into a project to focus on its environmentally supportive projects and what you can do to mitigate negative effects and amplify positive effects for the 3 pillars of sustainability, as they call it. LEED stands for Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design, and it's an independent process whereby the U.S. Green Building Council has a formula. It's basically a scoring point system where, based on certain building types and improvements that you make in your building, how you build the building, if focused on efficiency and a green concept, then they're recognized through different levels of certification, silver, gold, and platinum. It's a common methodology that's used, and particularly, frankly, in the Austin area, where environmentally sound green buildings are generally desired. It's fairly common practice. Actually, the one green building we have in Elgin now is our ACC campus building. It is LEED Silver certified. So, but this comes with a cost, and I want to make clear that the project that we are working on, the project we've submitted, I don't want to imply that the LEED certification is a choice between whether we're building an environmentally friendly, efficient building or not. We're already have a design that implements many of the principles that LEED and the green building concept endorses. But there's certainly a cost associated with, an added cost associated with achieving this goal. And these are the numbers we're looking at in this regard. In this case, the net impact is, at this point, is about $600,000 on the project. A big part of the LEED concept also is documentation or record keeping, submitting the proposals to the building council to get their certification. And so these are how the numbers break down. It basically would require us to increase, as I said, about $600,000 or $700,000 more, put the whole building project at about $5.7 million. And as we discussed earlier, when we look at our ARPA funds, we do have that much money left in the ARPA fund where we could fund this additional cost out of there and still have about $300,000 remaining in that fund. So I've actually, again, just to talk a little bit about silver certification, and I've talked to a couple of council members that have had some experience with this. It is truly the recognized designation for environmentally friendly buildings. My last job, we built a new courthouse that was LEED Silver certified, and it was well received, and it helped us set the tone for the community. I think that's a crucial issue for us to recognize now in Elgin. I think there's no question that in the next 10 to 15 years, we're going to build a number of new public buildings in Elgin, including school buildings and others. And that's why I think the timing of this for us to at least consider at this time is important. However, it is a significant cost. And if you do the math really quick, it's about a 12% increase on the whole project to fund this effort, or at least to fund what our team has estimated the cost will be. This is an item that we don't really have to decide on this evening. We wanted to but it was important to kind of get this idea in front of council and the numbers in front of you, so you could be contemplating this, or we could discuss it. It is important that we recognize these are the numbers we're looking at for the project we've been working on without LEED certification. That is the $5 million number, and it is using about $1.5 million. Our plan is from the ARPA fund. So if we have an issue with this part, we do need to discuss that pretty soon, because we'll continue to work forward. This number, either way, the numbers will change slightly, but everybody's comfortable with me telling council tonight you won't see any significant changes in these numbers as long as we don't change the project significantly. So So with that, I'd be glad to try to answer any questions I can about the LEED certification or about that process. Receive any comments. Like I said, I have, it's a process I believe in, and I think it's important, and an important attribute for the city, for any city, to do a project like this. However, we've made a pledge to try to hit our numbers from the beginning on this, and it frankly is the cost. We just received that estimate yesterday, and the number is a bit higher than what I'd hoped for. I thought it was going to be about half that. So I'm glad this is a policy decision. The city manager doesn't have to say. So I'd be glad to answer any questions or hear any comments.
I'm gonna take liberty first, and then we'll go around. I finally get to go first. Well, at my current, where I work, we have some LEED buildings, and I've had this discussion with the city manager, and their, one is platinum building, and we were very proud of it, until the first time it rained and it leaked like a sieve. And I'm not saying that to be funny, but sometimes whenever you go the green route, some of those materials just aren't, to me, quite as good. Where I got hung up and caught up is that you said 12, but it was like kind of 12 to 14% increase. And this building is going to be in conjunction with the building that will never be an LEED building. So my thought is keep the 14 to 12% or whatever the increase is for me, and use it on a new building that can be green and not sit beside a building that, and be tied into a building that would never be a LEED building. And keep that money for things that we know we definitely still need now, to build the infrastructure of the city. And that's what I have to say about it. And Councilman Gibson, I saw your hand, and then Councilman Callahan.
Can I just clarify one thing that you said? You said connected, but what building is it connected to?
The original police.
The original police department.
I thought we were knocking that down.
No.
No.
It's not physically connected to that building, but yeah, this is kind of the street view, obviously not to scale, but I consider the existing station to be determined. We're building a new building, and part of all the discussion was we originally, that was the plan to attach it, but long story short is we determined that we could just build a whole new building easier and for the same money as we could to attach to that.
So that would be city property yet to be determined.
That's
what to
right,
do with.
exactly right.
Yeah, originally it was gonna be.
And just to make that clear, it's, by all accounts, we put a new roof on it. It's got good basic bones, as they say, so based on our conversation, I'm assuming it's, with the remodel, it's reusable for somebody. It can be saved, if not us, so we could sell it to somebody and they could save it, do something with it. But yeah, that may have been before you got on council that we decided we're gonna build a new building, and it'll be easier for us occupancy-wise. They can stay in this building till we're completely done. But the other part is we all agreed to just wait until all that's done, then we'll re-engage to talk about what that building's gonna have.
Sorry, you good?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had two questions, and Mayor Pro Tem, I think you answered one of them because you said y'all had a platinum building, right? So that was one of my questions. Is there different tiers in this new certification? Okay. And
It's silver is actually the lowest, so that's
Okay,
why
so
I
there's
kind of
no
go,
problem from that.
not right, I was going for
That
that.
was my first question. And the second question is, where is the increased cost coming from? Is it from the type of materials we have to use, or from the way it's constructed, or kind of both?
Yes, kind of both. It's basically a system, and that's what I wanted to reemphasize. It's basically a system where there's a long list of things you can do. You go through and pick those out strategically, and you get points for each thing you do. And that adds up to a certain level, and that's where you get silver, gold, or platinum. And typically, the projects Sue's talking about, the ACC campus, they're embracing that from the very beginning. So you're thinking of all your planning. Like I said, I just want to make sure, emphasize that we're already, the plan already included a number of efficient double pane windows. That's another thing, you get the points for that. Well, we're already doing that in this building. We're already doing a lot of efficiency things. And from the team's assessment, for example, I think they said you got to get to 40 points in this system to get silver. And probably the things we're just already doing probably could get us to 25 right now. So, but it is, to get to that next level, we would have to change things fairly significantly where the cost comes in. Now, the other part of if you noticed, it's, part of that cost is nearly 200,000 of it is administrative. You have a lot of forms you have to fill out, plans that have to be redrawn, submitted to the Green Council. So it's again, that's why it all adds up to, there's a big bureaucratic process, frankly, you have to go through.
We should have done it from the beginning if we were gonna do it.
And I will say, in the end, you get a really nice silver plaque to put on your building, so, whether that's worth $600,000, I guess is what we're
Good.
thinking.
Don't have any more?
I was in construction for a long time, so I just had a couple of, I found it fascinating reading through this letter that was attached to your email earlier today. But the one thing that kind of eats at me is that it says the FGMA cannot guarantee that the building will achieve certification nor a minimum level of certification. That kind of eats at me. It would be a crime to go through all this and then have it go. You know,
That's
my 2 cents.
You know, that's a CYA for them. I assume what you do is you reach this point, what they mean is for this money, they can't guarantee it. But if you got close enough, well, if we had more money, then we could get there. You can have that conversation too. So I do think it's well, again, that is part of the administrative process. You can assess yourself and do those points, but they have to agree with you in that process. And so that's part of what they're talking about with that.
And that one's worth way more than 2 cents. Thank you. Councilman Dunes?
I read through the packet and all, and it seemed like that our architect's fee was the 200 whatever $1,000. But then there was, you have to have all these other outside consultants to, give you an acoustical rating and your air conditioning, your HVAC, and all this. So you have all these other people that, those weren't priced. I figured that they're in this estimate that we got.
Yes.
Okay, and then materials and equipment and all that sort of stuff are in that estimate that we got?
Well, again, no, that would be in the CMARC price where it added 10% to the project, so for construction costs. So.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that, we work with them and make it as efficient a building as we possibly can, which you already said is, would probably be at 25 points easy. We've already dipped into the ARPA funds twice, and to go back, it just seems like a real scope creep for me. And I think that you said the word bureaucracy, and it's bureaucracy leading up to it, but after we get the keys to the building, there's a lot of bureaucracy for this afterwards. We've got to do reports on our air conditioning systems, and we have to do reports on our water systems. We're not flushing more than however many gallons of water every time. And so there's all that stuff that we've got to keep tracking for at least 5 years following that. And I think that for this building, maybe this isn't the right direction to go, but maybe the next building, when we get City Hall and we start with this in mind, then then it's part of this.
That's where I am at. If we were gonna do this, we should have started at the beginning because we could have saved some money from the beginning. This is like we're playing catch-up.
Yeah.
So, looking at the 600,000, has there been any sort of cost analysis to determine whether or not the additional expenses we would realize additional savings in the future because we're doing different sort of, whether it's the windows, the roofing, the insulation, on the longevity of the building?
Well, that's a good question. It's a good point, and again, that's why the team emphasized that we're already doing some things. Because again, this, years ago, it's almost like the recycling thing. When we all started recycling, part of the pitch was to say, hey, we'll sell our junk and we'll make money back from that, and it'll pay for the recycling. Well, we've seen that evolve, where now that's not even possible anymore. Well, it's the same kind of thing. There were savings previously where you could basically do what you're talking about. If we do green, then we'll save this much money. But now the concept is, and what we've done with this building, we've already incorporated all those cost-saving measures. So in our conversation, I guess I don't remember if it says this in their proposal, the team was specifically pointing that out of, you should not anticipate that by going with this silver certification concept, you're gonna save a whole another pile of money that will offset this cost. It really is a system about recognizing and sending the message to the public that we're committed to environmentally friendly buildings. Look, it's something I've always said. I've come to the conclusion that I think everybody's an environmentalist. It's just, where are you on the scale? What's it worth to you? Where do you fall? And it is a recognized system where, again, I think we can do plenty of things that we know will be efficient and environmentally friendly. But again, it's like a lot of things. It's not like getting that stamp. And so this really is about, frankly, how much that outside certification is worth to anybody when they do a project like this. And that is also why typically you see universities, a lot of public buildings use that part to give that confidence to the public. But yeah, it's not, I'm glad you asked that because we want to make that clear. We're not trying, we believe we will build an efficient building that will result in cost savings, but it won't be anything that we can quantify to say it offsets this cost. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir.
Let's see. Yeah, that was one of my questions, so thanks for asking that. I think I've built a greenhouse, so I'm obviously in support of this, and at the same time, looking at costs and considerations. Like I would be really curious, things in here that are already doing, because I think to your point, this is really kind of a seal to say, hey, we're setting the tone, and at the same time, financially, is that the kind of investment we want to make right now? Because one of my next questions is, with the leftover ARPA funds that we have now, have we earmarked, or I'm sure staff have created a short list of projects for those, and I'm curious what those are, because I also, the one that comes to my mind most prominently, of course, is the veterans expansion in terms of a capital improvement. I'm just wondering if there's other kind of projects that have been floated, because I think potentially we're almost making decisions between going with the lead and potentially these other projects too. So just curious about that.
Okay, one, we can certainly work toward that list you're talking about. I think we're still gonna have ongoing conversations of, is there a way to pare this cost down, this lead cost? And we'll be looking to that. But I would say, no, we don't have a short list. Just don't ask any of the staff that. But my approach on this ARPA funds was again, it frankly hit at a time where, as I think, as we all know, I feel pretty good about the funding we've done across the board, and we didn't have some project we were desperately needing to do that we would devote this money to. I thought the council member might come up with an idea about, we should spend this on this or that. And so we just haven't had that conversation yet. So I'm just saying that I intentionally left this money out of that conversation just so council would have this discretion. But from the staff standpoint, I would say our list is the 5-year capital plan. And just, now we think we have all the projects we need to do already identified in there. Now, as we've talked about that plan, picking one out, moving it up the list is just, I think that's council's discretion. So that's also why, frankly, it's a natural place and clearly a place, and we would have some restrictions on every project in there, how we could use the ARPA funds, but this is one that seemed to fit just right because there's no question that money was for public safety and buildings, and so we can do this with this. But yeah, it was always our goal to leave some money in that fund for projects that aren't in the budget right now and that we can use, because it, truthfully, we didn't really see the adverse impact that others did from the coronavirus, and so there wasn't a void that we immediately had to spend that money on. So and now that time's passed, that's only been proven. So I think it really is, I consider it truly outside of these restrictions, unencumbered funds that is up to council's discretion and ideas about however you may want to spend it.
But to Councilwoman Kosnowski's point, we've already done our homework, right? We had to take the 5-year plan that you just mentioned, and we put our 1s and 2s and 3s, and so we already have a starting point.
Sure.
To go with staff to say, well, this is the direction that we all agreed that we would go to, right? So
Yeah, that's
it's
right.
not like starting from scratch.
No, that's right, unless there were some other direction, that's exactly what we would do, is go to that list.
And are most of the things on that list viable candidates? for
Yeah,
this
that's the part I can't
government?
tell you, I'm not sure, I haven't
But you
put
could
that
come
test
back
to it.
with a
Sure,
list.
sure, sure,
Right.
sure.
So all that begs another question. Is there a time limit to spend these funds?
Yeah, I would assume so, we haven't heard that yet, but yeah.
We don't want to get another year down the road and have these funds not be able to spend them.
That's right.
That was,
Yeah, I guess that's right, the Republicans might take it all back, right?
Yeah, we might try.
Councilman Swain?
that was my first question, is there a deadline for these
Yeah.
funds?
I guess I'll find that out.
The next one, if we were to choose to go with this lead, is it going to change the layout of the building as we were proposed to use it?
No.
So that would stay the same, just the construction and other costs?
Yeah, that would not be our plan. Our plan is to keep the layout as we looked at before. We've continued to tweak that here and there a little bit, but obviously that's mainly directed by the department and what they need. And so,
But
I
also,
know let me put it this way, if to achieve this required a major change in that, I'd recommend against it.
but also
at
on
this
that
point.
list of yours that you're writing down right there, you're gonna also verify that if any of our projects that we had,
Yep.
labeled maybe for this coming fiscal year as a 1, 2, or 3, if any of them qualify.
Okay, I can do that.
And I think, and I keep going back to the park, because again, I see LEAD as, again, it's where you draw your line in the sand, or like you said, it's kind of what you're showcasing to the public, kind of your future vision. And so anyways, and I don't even know if the Veterans Memorial Park is up for ARPA funds, but I'm thinking in terms of just future vision and what would have, in my opinion, a major impact for downtown, both for, just enjoyment of Elginites as well as supporting businesses that are locating around there. Like that park, finalization to me has a huge mark. And at the same time, I'm just wondering, can we get almost close to LEED without that great stamp, but are there other things we could do if we did rainwater catchment, because it was already in the plan, we put up something similar to the rec center that educates the public about kind of these features that we have, so kind of trying
Sure.
to kill two birds with one stone, on the, value engineering side of it.
Yeah, I got you. We can do that, have that conversation.
And I'm happy to, I know somebody who happens to live with me who might just love to read this and say maybe how doable some of these things are. Again, it's kind of like coming up with a plan of your waste management. I mean, I literally have pictures from us recycling construction materials and me in the dumpster picking out, sorting things. We don't have to go to that point. I'm not saying I'm gonna do that, but anyway, it's just, yeah, so.
But it seems like in that plan, that there were, in the column, several of them that this is a no-brainer. We're already doing this one, so
Right.
this one is a point that we actually automatically get. And so,
And I'm sure y'all saw the Courier article, was it last week, where it showed that house, the first of its kind, being built underground, so there's this,
And it wasn't the first.
okay, well, anyways, whether it's the first or not, I think people are interested in this, and I think even if we don't do LEED, I think the more we can kind of showcase this and publicize it, I think a lot of people would be pretty interested and excited, so.
I'm just, maybe this isn't so, but I'm thinking that if we were doing this in a building that was gonna be much more publicly accessible, investing this so that people could come in and see that. Police station, a lot of it is secure and you don't get in there, or it's a place that you don't wanna go to.
That's right.
So to make
That's
this
a good point.
investment in that building is maybe,
Well, I would suggest then, again, council can continue to contemplate this. I've got a few list items we can try to come back in November and discuss some of these, fill in some of these questions you ask, and then would still have an opportunity to have some discussion about that before we come back to contract December.
City Secretary Stubbs?
Yes, I just wanted to say I found online that on nlc.org, funding is not required to be obligated until December 31st, 2024, and the jurisdictions have until December 31st, 2026 to fully expend their funds.
There you go, Councilman
Thank you.
Rodriguez.
all right.
Okay, does anybody else have any other questions or anything? We don't have to take action on this. We have directed staff where we kind of would like some answers. Are we all good with that?
Yeah, and continue to keep the questions coming if you have any or suggestions. We'll look into this stuff. But like I said, too, we're presuming we're okay with this latest cost analysis, and that is what you should expect coming forward in the next couple months. And we're pushing really hard to get this contract on the December 6th agenda so that the construction activity can still start this calendar year. So
Do we need to take
Everybody's
action on
excited.
that?
not yet.
To approve additional funds coming? from
Not,
the-
not,
No,
it's
'cause
more about if
this
somebody,
is-
if you had an objection to it, we should talk about it right now, but
This
it's,
is strictly a direction to staff, all right?
but it's just that, again, I felt it was important to get to this number so we would know what the add-on would be for LEED, so, but like I said, it's mainly for y'all to know, we're pretty comfortable that this is where the numbers are gonna fall. But we do have that plan for funding, and as long as we're all right using this $1.5 million of the ARPA funds, then we're good. And that's the other part too, to keep in mind, that that's all money we have in the bank, so the COs, the ARPA money, so it's no more debt, no more conversation about financing, anything like that, we're ready to go.
Everybody good?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we'll leave that one as direction to staff, and we'll get more answers the next time around. Item number 2, under new business, is discuss learning opportunities and takeaways from the Texas Municipal League Conference held on October 5th through 7th. The city manager and I discussed this prior to the meeting. Everybody that all went to sessions, and Mayor McShann went to quite a few too. So if it's okay, we would like to table this until she is back as well. So everybody that went can discuss this item.
This is really her idea to have this kind of debriefing, and so I suggested to both Teresa and Sue that, or nothing pressing on, I thought it'd be best if we could wait till she could be here to be part of that conversation too.
Could I suggest we do that as a workshop and invite the staff that was at the
Yeah.
TML as well to
We may do
sit
that,
at
I
the
mean,
table?
I think as we told you, we actually were gonna do that before this meeting, but when we turned out that the agenda was so light, that's when we put on there, so we may do that at the November 15th meeting. But that, the mayor wanted the staff involved, just as you said too, to kind of have everybody share.
So we'll take no action on that. And then item number 11, executive session, and I believe we do not have anything going into executive session.
That's correct.
Announcements, of course, we have Dia de los Muertos coming, Halloween, and don't forget everything that's going in downtown with the trunk or treat. The fire department's gonna be open for the kiddos to go play. The police officers will be down there. There will be lots and lots of businesses open to trick or treat through their stores as well, for safe trick or treating.
So,
Halloween from like 4 to 8, is
Yes,
that right?
yes.
so I have a question and concern. Has anybody had a conversation with the sidewalk contractors to ask them what state the sidewalks are gonna be in on Saturday? Because we've got probably 250, 300 kids coming down that sidewalk Saturday night. And I can show you pictures of what my yard looks like right now.
Yeah, I would say we have not had that conversation, we will, but frankly, I wouldn't anticipate big improvements by Saturday, right, Mike? Well, you won't have to give out any candy, because we'll close that sidewalk in front of your house.
You mean Monday, right? Saturday?
Monday.
Well, whatever the day is.
It's
so
Monday.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I think the rain
Not gonna be much, yeah.
rain probably didn't help them much, unfortunately. I'm glad, I'm
They were
so
out there
glad we
working all
had
day,
rain, but.
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Also, this Thursday, if you are interested, the Elgin FFA is also having their fundraiser out at the Rising Sun Vineyards. It is posted on Facebook if you want to visit that, because I like to make sure that anything school-related is being announced for the kiddos at the schools too. And guess what? Sue Brazier is making the cake for the live auction that night. And Chief?
I was just, during the announcements, like, moment to introduce, Josh Moses with the Texas Division of Emergency Management. He's the new, Bastrop County Liaison Officer. And, we were here, geared up, ready to answer any questions on the 570-page document. Riveting meeting, but, nevertheless, Josh is a valuable new addition to the emergency management team that we have.
And this is what it looks like, councilmen and women.
So thanks, Chief. I wanted to, I could circle back to a couple things. Sidewalk on Main Street that due to the pushing of the Mayor Pro Tem. I don't want to get into what's north and what's south on the sidewalk. I'll just say.
Not on the forest side of the street.
For whatever reason we talked about, TxDOT is only doing the one side of the street. But we pushed with some encouragement by the Mayor Pro Tem to talk to TxDOT. And we think we've got it worked out where they're going to go in and do a series of panels on the other side of the street that are already, that people are tripping on and dilapidated. So we're going to get that addressed, but actually it'll be on both sides, so we'd work in that. And I did want to mention, if you haven't heard, that that our Mayor Pro Tem's cake skills set another record, I guess, last week. We went to the, if you didn't hear, went to the dessert contest. I got there late. They were already cutting up all the cakes to get to the judges. Well, they were like afraid to cut her cake because it was so pretty. And ended up, I think the story is, decided we'll just raise more money by selling it, got it up to $175. And of course, they tried to squeeze me, and I said, if I paid $100 for a cake, I'd be afraid to eat it, so and then took it down to the art show where everybody was having a good time, and ended up selling pieces of the cake down there, so it ended up raising a bunch of money, and I think we all know she makes great cakes, but that was a new experience for us, and so it was it turned out to be a great fundraiser for everyone. And it was a real attractive cake, and
Yeah.
I think her mother said that her daughter did most of it, so, and told me that on Saturday, so. But
My
anyway,
mama lies sometimes.
it was,
Also heard something about beans and some kind of pork that you did at this cook-off over here?
Me?
Yes.
I didn't cook anything. I was in charge of everything.
See what that.
and she was in charge down there too, I can attest to
If
that.
I'm in charge of the judging, I do no cooking because I want it fair and impartial. Anybody else? Staff, y'all are doing a wonderful job, and we appreciate you immensely. And I think with that, we can adjourn. 7:51, Jennifer.